you, Lucas. I'd now like to welcome Mr. Brody Lyons, Lake Highlands math teacher and Bellboys sponsor, who will introduce our valedictorian, Paxton Smith.
In the spring of 2018, if my math is right, I had the pleasure of administering the AP Human Geography test for this graduating group of seniors. In between sections, I stepped outside to point to students to the bathroom and reminded each one of them that they could not talk to each other during the break. However, one student that stepped out was wearing such an amazing Hawaiian shirt that I had to break the silence and extend a compliment. "That's an awesome shirt," I said, or something like that. She smiled and laughed and replied, "So is yours." I had forgotten that it was Friday and that every Friday I had instituted Crazy Shirt and Jeans Day for myself throughout that spring semester just to keep things interesting. We both laughed, and she mentioned that her shirt was actually her dad's, which I thought was fantastic considering it was probably older than me. I share that story because I feel like it represents all or most of my interactions with Paxton Smith throughout her time at Lake Highlands. I actually ended up having her in one of my pre-AP geometry classes the next year, and we seemed to play out that interaction countless times throughout the year. That was a 7th period class, and the atmosphere seemed to suit her personality well. They were all intelligent, determined, stressfully carefree, happy, and for the most part, grateful to be learning. However, geometry rarely clicked with Paxton, and the first time she heard it, which typically caused a barrage of questions from her aimed directly at me throughout and after most of the lessons. I learned not to stop talking every time she had her hand raised that I was teaching, but I also realized that every question at the right time worked out well for everybody. I knew that if she had questions, so did everybody else. Many times the lesson would end, and she would walk over to me with her spiral in hand, furrowed brow, pen at the ready, and say, "I got questions, coach." That always made me smile and laugh, and I remember that was a really fun class. The next year, Paxton had a short-lived stint in my AP statistics class, ending before the drop period after realizing she would rather take it her senior year. But she continued to show up at random times throughout, before or after school, just as she had done throughout her time in geometry. During that time, I noticed that her demeanor was consistent. She was the same student out of class as she was in class, hardworking but lighthearted. When she wasn't asking for help with math problems, we would work probability puzzles together that we rarely got right, talk about school, extracurricular activities, and oftentimes she would explain to me the life and time commitment of students in band here at Lake Highlands, which gave me a newly found respect for and awe for what they had to do on a daily basis. And this past year, just like she said she would, Paxton took my AP stats class. Once again, just like geometry, she explained to me that much of what I'm teaching doesn't click for her on the first try. And once again, she showed me that hard work, consistency, and in her case, not taking yourself too seriously can be a potent combination for success. Although she still had her spiral and questions ready after every single lesson. Throughout my time having Paxton as a student, she's taught me to be patient, to go ahead and answer every question that students ask, to be sure to encourage students that don't seem to be struggling, as well as the ones that can't seem to understand, and to smile and laugh as much as possible. Paxton's time in my classes has reminded me that the most monumental accomplishments with students tend to be relational and focused on how we learn instead of purely academic and focused on what we learn. Thank you, Paxton. I'll always remember to smile and laugh. Lake Highlands, class of 2021, your valedictorian, Paxton Smith.
I'm not usually very good at expressing my gratitude for the people that I care about, but I would like to say thank you to Coach. I think he's had a bigger role in my life than he realizes. Okay. As we leave high school, We need to make our voices heard. Today, I was going to talk about TV and media and content because it's something that's very important to me. However, under light of recent events, it feels wrong to talk about anything but what is currently affecting me and millions of other women in the state. Recently, the heartbeat bill was passed in Texas. Starting in September, there will be a ban on abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, regardless of whether the pregnancy was a result of rape or incest. 6 weeks. That's all women get. And so before they realize, most of them don't realize that they're pregnant by 6 weeks. So before they have a chance to decide if they are emotionally, physically, and financially stable enough to carry out a full-term pregnancy, before they have the chance to decide if they can take on the responsibility of bringing another human being into the world, that decision is made for them by a stranger. A decision that will affect the rest of their lives is made by a stranger. I have dreams and hopes and ambitions. Every girl graduating today does. And we have spent our entire lives working towards our future. And without our input and without our consent, our control over that future has been stripped away from us. I am terrified that if my contraceptives fail, I am terrified that if I am raped, then my hopes and aspirations and dreams and efforts for my future will no longer matter. I hope that you can feel how gut-wrenching that is. I hope you can feel how dehumanizing it is to have the autonomy over your own body taken away from you. And I'm talking about this today, on a day as important as this. On a day honoring 12 years of hard academic work, on a day where we are all gathered together, on a day where you are most inclined to listen to a voice like mine, a woman's voice, to tell you that this is a problem, and it's a problem that cannot wait. And I cannot give up this platform to promote complacency and peace when there is a war on my body and a war on my rights. A war on the rights of your mothers, a war on the rights of your sisters, a war on the rights of your daughters. We cannot stay silent. Thank you.